A black girl sleeps in the sink every night, and the sheriff cries after discovering the reason. In the small, tight-knit town of Willow Creek, everyone knew everyone else's business. It was a place where secrets were hard to keep, yet some managed to stay hidden in the shadows. One such secret was the plight of a young girl named Aisha, whose life had taken a tragic turn. Aisha was a bright and spirited girl, known for her infectious laughter and kind heart. She lived with her mother and stepfather in a modest house on the outskirts of town. Her mother, Maria, worked long hours at the local diner, while her stepfather, Frank, was often seen at the bar, nursing a drink. Despite the challenges, Aisha tried to maintain a semblance of normalcy, excelling in school and helping her mother with chores. However, behind closed doors, Aisha's life was far from normal. Frank had a dark side, one that he unleashed on Aisha when Maria was not around. The beatings started as soon as Maria left for work, and they grew more severe with each passing day. Aisha bore the brunt of Frank's anger, her small frame unable to withstand the force of his blows. She tried to hide the bruises and the pain, but it became increasingly difficult. One fateful night, after a particularly brutal beating, Frank threw Aisha out of the house. With nowhere else to go, she wandered the streets, her body aching and her spirit broken. She found refuge in the most unlikely of places, the public restroom at the town park. There, she curled up in the sink, the cold porcelain offering a semblance of comfort. It became her nightly sanctuary, a place where she could escape the horrors of her home life. Sheriff Tom, a kind-hearted man with a strong sense of justice, had known Aisha since she was a baby. He often saw her around town, always with a smile on her face. But lately he had noticed a change in her demeanor. She seemed withdrawn, her eyes filled with a sadness that he couldn't quite place. Concerned, he decided to keep an eye on her. One evening, as he was making his rounds, Sheriff Tom spotted Aisha slipping into the park restroom. His curiosity piqued, he followed her quietly. What he saw when he entered the restroom broke his heart. There, in the sink, lay Aisha, her body curled up in a fetal position, her face streaked with tears. She looked so small and vulnerable, a stark contrast to the lively girl he once knew. "Aisha," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. "What are you doing here?" Aisha looked up, her eyes wide with fear. She tried to sit up, but the pain was too much. "Sheriff Tom," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please don't tell anyone. I have nowhere else to go." Sheriff Tom's heart ached as he listened to Aisha's story. He learned about the beatings, the nights spent in the sink, and the fear that had become a constant companion in her life. Tears welled up in his eyes as he realized the extent of her suffering. He knew he had to do something to help her. Without hesitation, Sheriff Tom scooped Aisha into his arms and carried her to his patrol car. He drove her to the hospital, where she received the medical attention she desperately needed. He then contacted Child Protective Services, ensuring that Aisha would never have to return to the house of horrors she had endured for so long. The town of Willow Creek rallied around Aisha, offering their support and love. Maria, devastated by the truth, left Frank and vowed to rebuild her life with her daughter. Sheriff Tom became a constant presence in Aisha's life, a guardian angel who had saved her from the darkness. Aisha's story spread through the town, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of compassion. She found a new home with a loving foster family, and with time, her wounds began to heal. She returned to school, her laughter once again filling the halls, and every night as she lay in her warm bed, she knew she was safe, thanks to the sheriff who had cried for her and the community that had embraced her.